want you to hit me as hard as you can.
In this week's installment of the best movie you never saw, we get in our Wayback Machine and head to the utopian year of 2006 to discuss Mike Judge's Idiocracy. Hailed by many as one of the smartest dumb movies of all time, Idiocracy had an unceremonious theatrical release that resulted in a box office gross of less than $500,000. You'd be forgiven to think that this movie just went direct to DVD. So how did Judge's third film go from obscurity to becoming a movie that many find has become so eerily close to our own reality? For those of you that don't already know the name Mike Judge, the filmmaker and actor got his start in animation in the early 1990s with the MTV series Liquid Television. His Milton and Frog baseball shorts earned him the series Beavis and Butthead. For 90s kids like me, Beavis and Butthead were the epitome of anti-establishment rule breaking. Foul-mouthed and hilariously nasty, Judge's series paved the way for other boundary-pushing series like South Park. When Beavis and Butthead ended, Judge began a 13-year run with the Fox series King of the Hill, a much more wholesome sitcom about an animated Texas family. During the run of that series, Judge made his live-action feature debut with Office Space. Now, I likely don't have to tell you much about that 1999 film, which has become a pop culture stalwart and a major inspiration for The Office. However, like Idiocracy, it was a box office flop and only ever really took off on VHS and DVD. Thank you for watching JoBlo videos. If you enjoy our shows, please subscribe to our channel right now, like this video, and click on the bell so you'll be notified each time a new video goes up. Now, back to the show. It actually took 7 whole years before Judge was able to make another live-action effort, and it was all due to Disneyland. Apparently, while on vacation at Mickey Mouse's amusement park, Judge witnessed 2 women pushing strollers. The parents began arguing and spewing profanities at each other in earshot of their 2 small offspring. Judge was taken aback and thought how horrible it would be if all humanity was like this in the future. Using the idea of dumb people propagating and taking over the majority of the world's population became the crux of Idiocracy. Judge's idea of a dystopian society populated by devolution has been a common one throughout history, including H.G. Wells' The Time Machine and to a lesser extent Planet of the Apes. Partnering with Ethan Cohen, screenwriter of the films Tropic Thunder and Men in Black 3, Judge's script went through the works being titled The United States of America and 3001 before settling on Idiocracy. With a budget of just $3 million, filming took place in 2004 in Austin, Texas, and the surrounding area. Production was a challenge, with Judge saying it was a similar experience to making Office Space, saying that he was working on an impossible schedule and an impossible budget, and every day seemed it was at least 16 hours, so it was a pretty tough shoot. Early drafts for Idiocracy did not feature the now infamous President Camacho at all, but rather AI. Through rewrites and inspiration from the world around them, the script began coming together. The character of Joe gelled with the casting of Luke Wilson, just, your average guy. While Judge says that he never imagined Terry Crews as Camacho, but looking at it now, how could it be anybody but Terry Crews? Budgetary constraints also limited Judge's vision for the future, which was imagined to look something like Lawrence of Arabia in regards to scale. This wasn't going to happen. Since the budget was so limited, most of the future world had to be achieved with computer effects or small-scale sets, hiding the limited scope. Production was also rushed and dealt with many challenges. The film is meant to be set during a drought, but it was filmed during one of the rainiest seasons on record. They even had to kill grass with gasoline to get the visual look they needed for the landscape. Originally set for 2005, test audiences apparently reacted very negatively to the film, which prompted reshoots and a 1-year release delay.
These guys, they know what they're doing, don't worry. They've tested it on dogs and everything.
When it finally hit screens, it was only in 130 theaters with little to no fanfare. While posters did advertise the movie, 20th Century Fox promoted no trailers or ads for the movie, and they didn't screen it for critics. When a film does not screen in advance, we always call it a suicide release because basically the studio just doesn't care anymore. and it almost always bodes very poorly for the finished project. With Judge having made 20th Century Fox a lot of money thanks to Office Space, why did they have so little faith in Idiocracy?
You're the smartest guy in the world. You're pretty dumb sometimes.
Chances are those test screenings likely had something to do with it, as the limited theatrical release seemed unusual for a big, broad comedy. But it was also prompted by the studio having concerns surrounding the rampant bashing and spoofing of real corporations and brands. While it is not uncommon for studios to dump projects, the marketing was so non-existent for this film that theaters promoted it as Untitled Mike Judge Project. Yet, despite the poor test screenings, Idiocracy ended up with overall positive reviews from critics. Holding an overall 74% on Rotten Tomatoes, Idiocracy's politically incorrect satire of our world would go on to even more success, but it would take a full decade for that to happen. Regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, it's difficult not to see parallels between President Dwayne, Elizondo, Mountain Dew, Herbert Camacho, the former wrestler turned commander-in-chief, with a certain former reality star who later became president. Both screenwriter Ethan Cohen and director Judge concurred with the similarities between Idiocracy and, the 2016 election, with Judge saying, "I'm not a prophet, but I was only off by 490 years." Like Office Space, Idiocracy has turned in a devoted cult following in the 15 years since it was released. Like Office Space and Judge's HBO series Silicon Valley, Idiocracy works by mocking the conventions of the very real world that we live in, and that mocks both the right and the left people. The film opens in 2005 with Joe Bowers, played by Luke Wilson, being selected for a special experiment since he represents the most mediocre and average soldier in the armed forces. Cryogenically frozen alongside prostitute Rita, played by Maya Rudolph, Joe is forgotten for 5 centuries. When the pair are revived in the year 2505, the world's intelligent population has decided not to procreate and left the door open for the dumbest of people to prosper and spread their subpar DNA. Things have devolved, resulting in companies running major gubernatorial agencies, films reduced to just shots of butts, and sports going from organized efforts to, just things on fire. When Joe's journey takes him through the new world, he is quickly revealed to be the smartest person on the planet. That means, you guessed it, he is elevated to a position of power and given the task of solving the world's problems in just 1 week. Obviously, chaos ensues. But the plot of Idiocracy is not why it has stood the test of time, nor why it is so beloved by fans. Idiocracy is a film that is far more prescient than it should be, and in very disturbing ways. Whether or not you subscribe to the similarities to the Trump campaign, and you may not, there are other things that this movie foresaw, including the rise of Crocs as a popular form of footwear. The maligned sandal was merely a startup when the movie was made and has become as much of a mainstay in society as any other brands. Idiocracy is notable for the takedown of many companies, including Costco, Pepsi, and many more. Fun fact, of all the companies featured in the film, most of the logos were either fictionalized or have been changed, the lone exception being Fox News, whose current logo matches exactly what you see in this film. The big beverage corporation in the movie, Brondo, serves as a spoof of Gatorade and other energy drinks while echoing the agricultural conglomerates in our world like Monsanto. The movie also features great supporting turns from Dak Shepard, Justin Long, and Luke Wilson's own brother Andrew as demolition derby driver Beef Supreme. While Luke Wilson and Maya Rudolph are great in the roles, the MVP of the movie is definitely Terry Crews. The popularity of President Camacho resulted in a series of web shorts leading up to the 2012 presidential election and the development of a spin-off that sadly never came to be. But I suppose it's never too late. To be honest, Idiocracy is far from a brilliant movie. In fact, it likely isn't even the second best live-action film from Mike Judge. That honor, in our opinion, goes to his most recent film, 2009's Extract, starring Jason Bateman and Mila Kunis, which is a great little movie if you haven't seen it. This movie is very dumb, but that's an intentional decision and one that echoes a similar narrative from Fox's Futurama. Both focus on an average guy who finds himself a fish out of water. The difference is that Idiocracy's profane and provocative satire of our world is sadly far closer to reality and doesn't seem like that's going to change anytime soon. It's a shame that Idiocracy has only settled for a cult following, as it deserves a much wider fandom than it has. Had 20th Century Fox thrown more support behind it, even a little, some of Judge's and Cohen's more ambitious takedowns could have become a reality. And you know what? Maybe people could have seen it and realized, what a satire the human race in some ways is becoming of itself. Still, the movie we got is bitingly funny comedy that gets really, really real with each passing year. And again, it really doesn't matter which side of the political spectrum you're on in this one. So Idiocracy, check it out. Nobody went to see it in theaters, but it's going to have a lot longer of a shelf life than most other big hits that came out that year. And Mike Judge, why aren't you making more movies? Come on, come back to us. We need you. And if you like this kind of program, make sure to click on the bell to receive notifications for all of our latest videos. We're an independent company, and we appreciate all of your support.